Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to a continuation of my series where I'm showing all my vinyl albums. Now we're currently on the M's and I'm going to finish the M's today. This is from the miscellaneous section, and once the miscellaneous section is done I'll go on to the female artists. So continuing with the M's, and the first one is Malcolm McLaren and Duck Rock, and this is the one with Buffalo Gals, Soweto and Double Dutch on it, and it's a really good album. Next up, and we have Fans by Malcolm McLaren, and I think this is even better, and this is where he takes a lot of classical tunes and adds his little bit of magic to it, and I just think it's really good. Now I do have a third Malcolm McLaren album, and it's the Bootzilla Orchestra and Waltz Darling. And I bought this within the past year or so because of the strength of the other two albums, and I will admit I haven't played this yet, so I actually forgot that I actually had this, so I must give that a spin. Going into the Don McLean section, and we have Tapestry, his debut album, which I think is magnificent, with Castles in the Air and I Love Her So. And then another copy with a different cover. This was actually the very first version I got of it. It's my favourite Don McLean album. And then the big one, American Pie, which is brilliant, with Vincent, the title track, and Empty Chairs, really good album. And another copy of American Pie, and this is on the Fame label, and this was the first one I bought as well, along with that Tapestry. I bought them both at the same time. Don McLean, the self-titled, and this is a very good album too, with Dreidel on it. If We Try, The More You Pay, The More It's Worth. Very good album. It's a forgotten about album. And then the covers album we did called Playing Favourites, and there's actually a hit single off this, the version of Buddy Holly's Everyday, which is good. It's not a bad album, it's not my favourite. And then Homeless Brother, which is a good album as well, and this has got Sunshine Life for Me, Sail Away Raymond, which is the George Harrison song originally on the Ringo album from '73. Winter Has Been Its Grip is a beautiful track. La La Love You, I think, was the single along with Wonderful Baby. It's actually not a bad album. Prime Time, and this is from about 77 or 78 or so, or it could be slightly before it. I'm not too sure what the year was and I cannot read it, but it's not brilliant. The title track's okay, but nothing special. Chain Lightning, and this is a really good album, and this is one with his version of Crying on it. It's Just the Sun is a beautiful song, and he does a really nice slow down version of It Doesn't Matter Anymore, the Buddy Holly song. I really do like this album. Believers, which is not a bad album, is from around I think 1980-81. There's nothing brilliant off this, but it's a decent album. This one here is For the Memories, and it's on Music for Pleasure. I think it was originally released on his own label. This is actually quite good. Again, it's all covers, but I love the version of A White Sport Coat and A Pink Carnation. I absolutely love that song, love that version especially. Manfred Mann and the Singles album, which just collects a lot of the 60s singles, which is okay. Ralph McTell, Spiral Staircase. Now Ralph McTell is an English folk singer, most famous for Streets of London, and this is a really good album, and this has got Streets of London on it, the original version. It was a re-recorded version that became the big hit in 1974. Ralph McTell, Not Till Tomorrow, another pretty good album, very enjoyable. His albums always tend to pop up in record fairs, extremely cheap. Easy, Ralph McTell, and this one I believe was produced by Tony Visconti, and again it's a good album. And then you have the big one, Streets, with the Streets of London, the reworked version, which became a huge hit, an absolutely beautiful song, and it's a good album as well. Meat Loaf, Bat Out of Hell, really good, can't say much more about it. Everybody should own a copy, but I know a lot of people don't. Dead Ringer, which I think is nearly as good. It's got I'm Going to Love Her for Both of Us in this, which I absolutely love. Of course, Dead Ringer for Love, Peel Out, it's a very good album. Not so good is Midnight at the Lost and Found, but it does have a couple of decent tracks on it, like the title track and Razor's Edge, and I think the first thing was If You Really Want To, but this sounds a little bit more dated in sound. 1983. Bad Attitude by Loaf, and there's a couple of Jim Steinman songs off this. My favourite track is Nowhere Fast, which is a Steinman song and I love it, and I also like Jumping the Gun. It's actually not a bad album. Blind Before I Stop, and this is not very good at all. And there's not an awful lot I like off this. I bought it for about £2 just to add to the collection. And then Hits Out of Hell, which is basically half a Bat Out of Hell and a few other songs, but it's a very good album. Then we have Bonnie and Meat Loaf, which is like a compilation, and a lot of the tracks of Bat Out of Hell are heavily edited and it's not great. Medicine Head, and this is, it's like a compilation greatest hits type thing. It's got Rising Sun on it, Slip and Slide, One and One is One. It's okay. I love the Rising Sun song, it's absolutely brilliant. Men at Work, Business as Usual with Down Under and Who Could I Be Now, very very good. I think this one is a slightly better album, Cargo, although nothing eclipses Down Under. But this is the one with Dr. Heckle and Mr. Jive and Overkill, and It's a Mistake. It's a good album. This one here is their third album in Two Hearts, and I just don't like this one at all. It's a completely different sound, very 80s sound. And Mental as Anything and Fundamental, and it's not a very good album, although it does have the big hit Live It Up, which was on Crocodile Dundee, and I've always loved that track. I have the singles, so I don't really need that album. Okay, a few middle of the road ones, and Chirpy Chirpy Cheep Cheep, Tweedledee Tweedledum, and I do like Sally Carr's voice, and it is middle of the road stuff, pardon the pun, but I really do enjoy it. Middle of the Road and Drive On, and it's another decent album, and Yellow Boomerang's probably the biggest one off this. This is not the one with Soli, so I don't actually have the one with Soli on it. The Best of Middle of the Road, which is really all you need, and it does have Soli, a track I absolutely love. And It's the Middle of the Road, which is just a compilation of slightly later material, and it's okay, it's nothing fantastic. I will go into the Monkees now, and I've actually got quite a few Monkees albums, and it's the debut album, the Monkees, The Last Train to Clarksville and the Monkees theme. More of the Monkees, yeah, very very good album. The Monkees Headquarters, and the big one off this is probably, I'm not actually too sure, I don't even know if their alternate title, which was Randy Scouse Git. Next up is Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn and Jones, and yeah, this is also a pretty good album. Yeah, I do like these Monkees albums. I bought a lot of them very very cheap, and they said that they were all in sort of good to very good condition, but they're actually very good to very good plus, and they play very well. Head by the Monkees, and this was the one I bought new, and this is a very good album. There's only about 3 or 4 proper songs on it, but it is actually a fun listen. Weird. And we also get The Birds, the Bees and the Monkees, and this is probably one of their better ones, and it's got Tapioca Tundra and Valerie on it. It's a very very good album. The Monkees Instant Replay, and I bought this off Johnny for about a £5, and again this is actually not too bad. And this one I bought off Johnny as well, and it's Changes, and I think it's only Davey and Mickey on this, and I think I've played it once and it's alright, but I would need to play it again. I'm more familiar with about the first 5 Monkees albums. And then we have like a greatest hits one, which is very very good. Every household should have a Monkees compilation. Monkees Flips, and these are like B-sides and stuff. I think I've played this once, you know, it's nothing special but it's alright. And Poet, actually the first Monkees album I ever bought, from 1986, and this is not quite as bad as a lot of people say. It has got Every Step of the Way, the Ian Hunter song, and I'd Go the Whole Wide World, the Reckless Eric song, but it's not brilliant. It's very dated in sound. Next up is the Moody Blues and Days of Future Past. Now, I've got quite a few Moody Blues here. Yeah, very good album. Nights in White Satin is the big one off that, Tuesday Afternoon. And then In Search of the Lost Chord, which is another brilliant album with Ride My Seesaw, Voices in the Sky. Excellent. And we also have On the Threshold of the Dream, which is not a bad album. And this is the one with Lovely to See You on it, which is a great track, but I think this album is the weakest of all those sort of first Justin Hayward albums, the first 7 anyway. To Our Children's Children, which is probably my favourite, with Gypsy, Eyes of a Child, Candle of Life, absolutely beautiful album. A Question of Balance with the title track, which is great, minstrel song. It's Up to You, another really good track. And probably my second favourite is Every Good Boy Deserves Favour, which #1 album I believe. And Procession, Going Into the Story in Our Eyes, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Our Guessing Game's great, Nice to Be Here, wonderful album. And then Seventh Sojourn, which is also a very good album, Isn't Life Strange, and I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band, For My Lady. And You and Me is a great track as well, The Land of Make Believe. And then we have This Is the Moody Blues, which is like a double compilation of those 7 albums, and it is very good. Moody Blues albums are also very cheap and very easy to find. Caught Live +5, very good, with 5 sort of outtakes, studio outtakes, things like King and Queen, Long Summer Days, Give a Little Something, Please Think About It, and What Am I Doing Here. So 5 pretty good songs added on to the live set. Justin Hayward and John Lodge and Blue Jays. Yeah, this is a very good album with blue guitar on it. Moody Blues, Octave, and yeah, Stepping in the Slide Zone is the most famous song off this, but my favourite is Driftwood, which I think is a beautiful Justin Hayward song. Long Distance Voyager, yeah, another good album. Sounds a little ELO-y with a voice and Gemini Dream, but it is quite a good album. This one is The Present from 1983, and it's not bad. The songs are not quite as strong. And then we have The Other Side of Life, which is probably their most 80s sounding album, but I think it's quite good. But it does have Your Wildest Dreams on it, which is my favourite Moody Blues song of all time. That and Nights in White Satin, but it's not a bad album at all. Slightly better is Sur la Mer. However, this is slightly more consistent than the last album, but nothing beats Your Wildest Dreams. I Know You're Out There Somewhere is the big hit off this. The Moody Blues Greatest Hits. Now I think this is important because there's 2 re-recorded versions. One of Question, which is good, but the version of Isn't Life Strange is the best version ever, and this is from around 1989. I absolutely love that version, very orchestral. And then we go into Justin Hayward and Songwriter, and it's not a bad album. Another Justin Hayward one, and it's Night Flight, and it's not a good album. And Justin Hayward, Moving Mountains, and it is a bad album. So I'm not that keen on Justin Hayward's solo material. His first album was pretty good, but that's it. Ray Thomas from Mighty Oaks. I tried this because it was extremely cheap, and it's not too bad. It's pretty good. So we go into Van Morrison, and this will finish it. No, it won't actually. There's another band before Van Morrison, Them, and that's Them's debut album. and Them Again, which is their second album. I'm not overly keen on those two albums. They're too sort of mid-60s beat for me, but I do really like this one, and it's Blowing Your Mind, the Bang recordings, and it's his debut album, although sometimes I don't think he counts that as his debut. This one here is an absolute masterpiece. Astral Week's really strong album. The Sweet Thing on it, and Madame George and Ballerina. Moondance, everybody should own a copy of this. This is really, really good as well, with things like Stone Me, Moondance itself, Crazy Love, Into the Mystic is just a genius song. His band and the Street Choir with Domino on it, and Street Choir itself, Virgo Clowns, is a very good album. It was released in '71, the same year as Moondance. One that I've really got to love recently is Tupelo Honey. Really good. Wild Night is fantastic. Straight to your heart like a cannonball. Old Woodstock. Very, very strong album. A little bit of a country tinge to it. St. Dominic's Preview with Jackie Wilson Said and Listen to the Lion is a very good album as well. Hard Knows the Highway. Yes, I do like this. Especially the opening tracks, No and San Anselmo. I absolutely love that track, and this is the one with Warm Love as well. It's a pretty good album. And then you get the big double live one, and It's Too Late to Stop Now, and this is a recent reissue. Yeah, very, very good. Feed and Fleece, another very good album, and the one track I really love off this is Lyndon Arden Stole That Highlights, and I also like Bulbs. Again, it's a pretty good album. It's not my favourite mine. Then A Period of Transition, which is regarded as one of his worst, but I think it's actually quite good. Another one I think is quite good is Wavelength. And there's one track off this I absolutely love, and it is Take It Where You Find It. The last track, absolutely brilliant. And then Into the Music, Van Morrison, and this is the one with The Bright Side of the Road on it. It's an absolutely wonderful song. So uplifting. A common one, and I've never been able to get into this. Very few tracks. I think there's only 5 or 6 tracks off it. They're very, very long, and never been able to sort of grasp it at all. Beautiful Vision, not a bad 80s album. These 80s albums are actually very good. This has got Celtic Ray on it, and Cleated Windows is the big one off this. An Inarticulate Speech of the Heart, very 80s sound, very 80s cover, but it's not a bad album. Sense of Wonder, another very good album, especially the title track. I do have quite a few Van Morrison albums. Next one is a No Guru, No Method, No Teacher. I think this is really good as well. It's got a very nice sound to it. A lot of these tracks, you know, if I look at them I don't recognise them, but if I play them I just really enjoy them, and they do start to sink in. And it's the same with this one, Poetic Champions Compose, which I think is very good too. One that I haven't played very often and is Irish Heartbeat with the Chieftains, and yeah, it's got Irish Heartbeat on it, I'll Tell My Ma, which is the Belle of Belfast City really. And this one here is a beautiful album, and it is Avalon Sunset, and this is the one with the Cliff Richard duet, Whenever God Shines His Light, which I do like, but my favourite track off this is Daring Night, which I think is absolutely wonderful. And Enlightenment with Real Real Gone on it, which is an absolutely brilliant track. Again, it's one of my favourite Van songs. And the last Van Morrison one I have is The Healing Game. Yeah, this is pretty good as well. The title track is very good. Fire in the Belly, very good album. I think it's from the mid-90s. And finally, 2 albums by The Motors, both given to me by James Griffiths. And yeah, this is actually not a bad album. This is the one with Airport on it. Maybe not quite as good as this one here. I can't remember the name of this. What's it called? Tenement Steps. So yeah, decent album. nothing special, but it's decent. So that's the M's done, and the next video I'll be starting on the N's of the miscellaneous section. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to have that video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.